It always starts with that familiar ache. The feeling that despite every ounce of effort you pour in, something essential remains out of reach. You clock in early. You push through exhaustion. You say yes while the voice inside screams no, believing that persistence alone will rewrite your story. But what you're really grappling with is not the lack of effort. It's the silent betrayal of a promise you never questioned. That hard work guarantees fairness. That the world, in all its brutal complexity, owes you justice because you showed up. The truth is far messier, because the system doesn't reward effort. It rewards control. You've been told since childhood that diligence and sacrifice are the currency of success, that if you just keep grinding, someday the world will pay you back. But this narrative isn't just incomplete, it's a cage. The philosopher who saw beyond illusions, Friedrich Nietzsche, called this the slave morality, a worldview crafted not by those in power, but by those who serve it. It celebrates obedience, humility, suffering, not as virtues, but as tools to keep you tethered, to keep you obedient, to keep you small. It is a spiritual trap masquerading as moral truth. Imagine a vast stage where countless workers labor in silence. The nurse clocking endless hours, the delivery driver racing against time, the factory hand pushing through physical pain, all hailed as heroes of sacrifice. Yet behind the scenes, the script is rigged. The rewards aren't distributed to the tireless, but to the shrewd. Those who learn not only to play the game, but to change its rules. In this theater, suffering is applauded while power quietly slips through your fingers. The paradox is cruel. Your endurance is praised, but your influence remains negligible. Here's the bitter irony. While you slave over spreadsheets or patient charts, someone else, someone who may know less but networks better, climbs faster. They manipulate narratives, build alliances, and position themselves where decisions are made. This isn't about skill or fairness. It's about understanding power's unspoken language. The world doesn't owe fairness. It owes leverage. And that is why moral labor, with all its sacrifice and goodness, is no guarantee of advancement. It's often a mechanism of control. This truth fractures the comforting stories we cling to. The idea that if you just do good, good will come to you, is a psychological sedative. It numbs the unrest, but deepens the wound. Because while you wait for recognition, the system is actively rewriting the playbook. The moment you equate virtue with submission, you hand over your agency. Your loyalty becomes their leash. And the longer you wait for fairness, the easier you are to manage, to pacify, to exhaust. You begin to see the system not as a malfunction, but as a carefully designed machine. The ones rewarded aren't the hardest workers. They are the architects of influence. They don't simply contribute, they control. They don't obey, they author. Nietzsche called this master morality, a morality of strength, creation, and self-affirmation. It's not about cruelty, but about conscious power. The Übermensch, the overman, is not a tyrant, but a creator who refuses to be caged by others' rules. But waking up to this reality is a jarring shock. It feels like betrayal against the values you were raised to honor, the virtues you cherished. The cognitive dissonance is profound. Yet staying in the myth of moral labor guarantees stagnation. The system's promise of someday is the most effective chain ever forged. It keeps you striving without progress, hoping without result. The only way out is to confront the lie, not reject morality, but redefine what power and virtue mean on your own terms. This path demands ruthless honesty with yourself. It means questioning the sacred narratives, unlearning deep-seated beliefs about worthiness and effort. The call is not to abandon kindness or integrity, but to wield them strategically, to become someone who knows when to serve and when to stand firm, who understands that true strength is owning your power without sacrificing your soul. It's a journey into uncomfortable freedom where loneliness meets clarity. There is no easy answer. The journey away from the slave morality is isolating because it forces you to stand apart from the crowd you once belonged to. You risk disappointing those who depend on your silence, and in doing so, you risk losing their approval. But in that solitude, you find something far more valuable: authenticity, the courage to craft your own values, to rewrite your narrative, and to move from being a pawn to becoming a player. So, what will you do with this awakening? Will you continue to grind beneath the sky that doesn't reward effort? Or will you embrace the difficult truth that power isn't given, it's claimed? That the key to freedom is not harder labor, but smarter leverage. Not obedience, but authorship. The first step is always the hardest: to stop waiting and start creating. To stop being a servant and begin being the architect of your own destiny. This is not just survival. This is revolution. The awakening is only the beginning. Understanding the lie behind moral labor forces you into a crossroads. Cling to the comfort of obedience, or step into the chaos of conscious power. It's terrifying because it means dismantling the foundation you've built your identity on. The belief that being good, being loyal, was enough. But the world doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards impact. Not just any impact, but impact wielded with strategy and awareness. This is the call to stop surviving and start leading. You must redefine kindness, not as passivity, but as strategic strength. Too often, kindness is mistaken for weakness, an excuse to say yes when you mean no, to sacrifice your boundaries for approval. Nietzsche didn't preach coldness, he preached consciousness. Strategic kindness means knowing when to engage and when to protect yourself. It means having the courage to walk away from situations that drain you without guilt. Because sometimes leaving is not failure, it is liberation. Power in this sense is not about domination over others, but mastery over yourself. It is the ability to say no, to set boundaries, to guard your energy like the precious resource it is. It means creating systems where your labor fuels your mission, not someone else's machine. This might mean starting your own venture, building influence on your terms, or simply learning how to negotiate your worth without apology. Power is practical, and it is necessary. But embracing power also means facing the loneliness that comes with stepping outside the herd. The more you claim your agency, the more you risk isolation from those still trapped in the old narrative. You become a threat not because you want to be, but because your freedom exposes the lie. This solitude is heavy, but it is also fertile ground for growth. True transformation rarely happens in crowds. It is born in the silent, difficult moments where you confront your fears and rewrite your story. The paradox here is stark. Freedom demands surrender. The surrender of illusions that once felt safe. Letting go of the myth that suffering equates to virtue opens you to a rawer, more authentic existence. It's no longer about earning approval, but about embodying your values, even when it costs you. This is hard, brutal work, but it is the only path to true power. Because power without integrity is tyranny, and integrity without power is impotence. You will stumble, you will falter, and you will be tested. But each setback is a lesson in disguise. The system is designed to resist those who challenge it, to pull you back into compliance. Yet every time you refuse to bow, You carve out a new space for possibility. Your rebellion is not reckless, it is deliberate. It is the act of reclaiming your worth from a world that profits off your doubt. It is the first step toward becoming the Übermensch, not a myth, but a mindset. To become this new version of yourself requires relentless self-awareness. You must watch your motivations like a hawk and question your assumptions constantly. Are you acting out of genuine strength or fear, disguised as compliance? Are your choices aligned with your deepest values, or are you still seeking external validation? This is the work of authorship, writing a life that does not merely react to the world, but shapes it. It's terrifying because it demands responsibility. The responsibility to be honest, to be brave, to be whole. This is not a call to abandon morality, but to reclaim it, to wrest it from the hands of those who use it to control and weaponize it for freedom and creation. The moral labor that once felt like chains can become the scaffold on which you build a life of conscious power. Because when you integrate ethics with strategy, kindness with strength, you become unstoppable. You become a force that reshapes not only your destiny, but the systems around you. Imagine the possibilities if millions woke up to this truth, not slaves to sacrifice, but sovereign creators of their own worth. Imagine communities built not on obedience, but on conscious choice. Imagine a world where power is not a tool of oppression, but a resource for growth and connection. This is the revolution Nietzsche envisioned, not a violent upheaval, but a transformation of consciousness. It begins with you, with the courage to walk away from comfort and toward freedom. So here is the challenge. Will you keep grinding for a reward that may never come? Or will you claim your power, redefine your strength, and rewrite the rules? The path ahead is not easy, and it demands everything: courage, honesty, resilience. But it also offers the greatest prize, a life lived on your terms, guided by your values, free from the chains of illusion. The choice is yours. Step into your power. Become the author of your destiny.